Disappointed but not surprised. Disappointed but not surprised. Disappointed but not surprised.
Guys, welcome back to another week of fuckery. We're your disappointed but not surprised co-host. I'm Addie.
I'm Alex.
So like yesterday, one of my friends texted me. He's like, did you ever do an episode about sugar babies? And I was like, no, do you know one? He goes, no, but I'm a sugar daddy, so I can call on.
Ooh.
So we're going to have a caller in. His name is Aaron. He's going to talk about sugar babies and sugar daddies since he's a sugar daddy. We might make him our sugar daddy.
We have to.
I feel like we could. We'll just send him nudes and then he'll pay us.
I feel like we've been looking for one for so long. So this could work out in our favor.
I don't have to do anything sexually too.
Seriously.
I just want to send them photos and they pay me.
Yep.
Anybody want to see my nudes?
I can think of somebody that will.
So we're going to call in on Aaron. He is out of state. He's in another state. So if the audio is a little bit malfunctioning and staticky, we apologize. Just deal with it. But we cannot wait to hear what he has to say. I didn't even know he was a sugar daddy until yesterday, 2 days ago, right?
Yeah.
2 days ago, I think. So anyway, here is Aaron, guys. I hope you enjoy the informative sugar baby, sugar daddy episode. Hey, Aaron.
Hey, how's it going, girls?
It's going
good. How are you?
So, Aaron, I already gave a little brief preview of what to expect from you. You messaged me like 2 days ago or yesterday, and you're like, did you ever have a sugar baby on? And I was like, no. Do you know one? And you're like, yeah, I'm a sugar daddy. So, Daddy Aaron.
Oh, indeed. It's
how'd you get into this?
Well, this has been going on for a few years, probably like 3 years. 3 years ago, I was dating a girl and in a relationship, and one day we had a little falling out, and it probably wasn't anything too serious, but in my skis ball way, I found my way to the strip club here in Detroit.
Most guys do after a breakup.
Yeah.
Good for you.
So
Good for you.
Yeah, I rolled in there looking to blow off some steam, and the strip clubs in Detroit are different than most of the country, I think. It's like a full-blown brothel.
Oh,
so,
legally?
Yeah, well, not legally, but the things that you hear about happening in the VIP room, that's commonplace here. Like that shit goes down without anybody blinking an eye. So I rolled in there, and this girl came down the stairs onto the stage, and I was like, holy cow, like, whoa. So I was kind of taken back by her, and I started chatting her up after she did her set and found out that she lived close to me, and we talked for a little bit, and then we went up to one of the rooms and whatever. And so that kind of continued on. I would see her in the club, like.
And what's whatever? Did you guys fuck, or did she just blow you?
The first time she just blew me, and she blew me, and I came in her mouth, and she swallowed it like a champ, and I was like, oh my, I'm in love. Like, that was all it took. And so I kept going back. So the second time we ended up fucking, and that went on for a while, probably like, I don't know, like 6 months or so.
In the strip club you guys were fucking?
Yeah, in the strip club. And then over that course of that 6 months, she would come over to my house, and we would hook up at my house, and then she'd go back to her house with her boyfriend and whatever. And so that went on. And when she would come to my house, it was just two people hooking up. So she ended up leaving the club for a minute. And so I was kind of just hanging out. She was with him, trying to make things work with her man, whatever. And I was like, okay, that's fine. So I had a buddy that told me about seeking arrangements, and that's kind of how I delved into that world. And
I'm booted from seeking arrangements. I'm not allowed on anymore.
Oh, do tell why.
Because I tried to solicit my feet photos from my alter ego name, which you know what it is.
I do. Yes, indeed. Yes.
I
And
think-
I subscribe to that OnlyFans. Yeah.
Yeah, you do
absolutely.
subscribe to my OnlyFans. I haven't posted in a while.
Yeah.
Totally unsubscribe. I've retired that. But like, I was trying to
All right.
like solicit my OnlyFans and my feed
Yeah.
photos from my
Yeah.
alter ego's name.
And they were like, nope.
And they literally booted me the second I was like, hey, no, when I put my OnlyFans link to some like old fucking 90-year-old man, I got immediately booted. I had an account for like 3
Oh,
months
shit.
though. Yeah, but then they all
Yeah.
wanted to meet. That's the problem. And I didn't feel like meeting anybody. I just wanted to like
Get
dirty
an
talk
allowance
them.
and- yeah.
Yeah, like there was this guy,
Yeah.
George, that I thought was a sucker. And I was like, George, stop playing me. Just send me money so I know you're real. And then he was like, no, meet me
Oh.
first. And I'm like, sorry, George, I'm really sick. I have COVID for like the past 3 months.
Yeah. And you know what? In that site, it's like a full-time job.
It's
Like,
a lot.
Especially on the guys, and like it's a lot to like filter through. And there's a lot of girls that are doing that don't want to meet up. They just want you to send them money. For
Yep, that
pics
was
and whatever
me.
else. Yep. And you know, to each their own. If that's your thing, it's certainly, you know, it's generally not my thing. You know, I've never had a problem dating. I'm not a bad looking guy. You know, I got my shit together. I'm
No, I was
financially
just showing
stable.
Alex your photos before. I'm like, he's so good looking.
So for me, like I've always dated younger women. That's just how it's been.
How much
And-
younger? Like 10 years younger, 5 years younger, or 20 years younger?
You know, 10 has generally been it. And
Okay.
then now we're a little younger than that, you know, 15, 20 years.
Okay.
So, and that took some adjustment, you know, for me mentally.
Well, because
But,
they're mental. Because what are you? You're
Yeah.
40 something?
Yeah, I'm 40 something.
40 something.
And,
So then they would have to be 20 something. And I think
Okay.
the mental, you know,
there's definitely
difference.
yeah, there's a disconnect there. Yeah,
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
sure,
you're
for
on
sure.
different life stages.
Absolutely. And so, you know, it's one thing if it's just we're going to meet up and we're going to fuck and everybody's on the same page there. And then it gets a little more complicated as time goes on if those lines become blurred a little bit. So
Yeah.
Right.
my experience on there has been wild. And when I mean wild, I mean like some crazy shit has gone down.
We want to hear all of
But-
it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to tell you about it, you know, but for the most part, it's been a good experience. And I'm a girl dad first and foremost. I'm respectful of women. I love women. So for me, you know, I'm just there having a good time. So my first venture out into that world, I'm on that site and, I met this girl on there. So we started talking and then we were like, okay, let's text. And so we started texting and I was like, all right, let's meet up and have a drink or whatever. And she's like, okay, can I bring my friend? And I'm like, sure, no problem. So I meet her at the bar and I walk in and she's already there with her friend. And this is pre-COVID. And she sits there and I look at the two of them and I'm like, wow, they look oddly similar. So I start talking to them and, you know, this is my friend so-and-so. Okay, cool. And she's pretty shy, the one that I'd never talked to before. And so we start vibing, having a couple drinks. Everything's cool. And the one that I had been talking to was like, hey, why don't we all get a room?
Oh.
And I was like, yeah. So I was like, you know, not what I came for, but all right, I'm down. So this goes and we get to the room and I'm looking at these two and I'm like, something is going off in my head. Like these two cannot just be friends. Like they've got to be related somehow. So I thought maybe like they were cousins or something like that. So I start pressing them a little bit on it. And then I just blurted out, I'm like, are you two sisters? And the one who was shy looked at the other one like, oh shit, I'm caught. And so that's when I was like, okay, the gig is up. Like you two. And they were like, well, and then it came out that they were sisters. And I was like, wait, like full blood sisters? Like you have the same parents? And yep, for sure. And they were down to do it. And I was like, you know, and all my buddies razz me for this because they're like, you should have banged them both. And I'm
That's
like,
like
dude,
every guy's dream.
I know, but I have daughters and I can't put that mojo out in the world. I can't.
Oh.
I just couldn't do it. So anyway, so I said, all right, you know, this just probably isn't going to work. And that was it. And that chick still hits me up randomly. The one that I was talking to, she still every once in a while just text me and like, hey, what's going on? And I'm like, not much. But after that, I was kind of done with her. So I have met a lot of girls off that site, and I've gotten scammed a couple times, like, oh yeah, send me money and we'll meet up. And that was like back when I was new at it.
Yeah, no, you
All
never
right,
send the
cool.
money first. You always meet up first.
Yeah. Yeah. I learned that early on. And then from now, when somebody's hitting me up for money, I'm just like, yeah, block, whatever, I'm done. So, but other than that experience there, that was how it started. And then I took a break from the site, and then I came back, and then, I'll take a break and come back. And it just really depends on how it's going. But I have met some smoking hot women, some crazy ass fucking women, you name it, and from all walks of life. And it has just been, for the last 3 years, just wild ass times. So
I don't think you're gonna have some little fucking loser librarian on that site though. So the women that are on there are totally gonna be fun and crazy.
You would think, right? But like, there's both. Like, so I have met the girl that, is all about that wildlife partying, Twin Peaks girls, Hooters girls.
Yeah.
All those kind of things. I met those guys. They're fun. They're crazy. They're good for what they're good for. And then I met a girl that was a student in college at one of the local universities here. And she was like, we met at a coffee shop for the first time. So quiet, so reserved. We end up hooking up. We get to the hotel room, and it was like a whole different person came out.
Oh.
And I was just like, oh my God. Yeah. Oh, wild. Like, the things she wanted me to do to her, I was like, okay, bet. Like, I'm
always
about
the
to change your day.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
Oh,
what'd she
yeah.
want you to do? Hawk loogies
Yeah.
in her mouth, shit like that.
Oh no. She wanted to get tied up, spanked, fucked in the ass. She wanted it all. And,
My kind of
fairly
girl.
yeah. Oh yeah. And I'm fairly well endowed, and I'm looking at this girl like, and we had talked, and I knew she only had like 2 boyfriends prior to getting with me. And I was like, okay. And I turned her out. That went on for a few weeks, and then I was, I could just tell, like, I could see like the gleam in her eye, and I was like, okay, I gotta
She was
back out of
catching
here.
feelings.
Oh yeah, for sure. But she was down for anything that, spit in my mouth, tie me up, fuck my asshole, call me a slut, you name it. And so that got pretty wild. But, so there's all gamuts. And, I've been with some of the most beautiful women from every race, from every place in the city, from the inner hood in Detroit to the classy suburbs and everywhere in between. And it's been a wild time.
I feel like you're like living every man's dream right now.
I am. No doubt that I am. Like, there's no way that if you had said to me 20 years ago, this is what's going to happen after you get divorced and you're a single dad and whatever. But for me, dating women is difficult with the kids. And, you bring them and you introduce them to the kids, and then something goes wrong a couple months later, and then they're gone out of their life. And that's not fair. That's not fair to them. I had fuck buddies, and that was cool. But this is like a whole different kind of thing. And there's something invigorating about it. And I'm financially to the point in my life where I can do this and it doesn't affect me financially. Like, I'm just helping people out. That's all. I'm just a good guy helping people out.
I feel like it's like no different than the expense that you would do in taking them to a nice dinner with like nice steak and wine and stuff like that. Instead, it's like, I don't know. I feel like it's probably the same amount of cost.
Well, and we do that too. Like, I've taken them on trips to Florida and to dinners, and, I've done that stuff. Flew first class to Florida, stayed right on the beach, flew back. We've done all that. But there is something about that energy that is just, and maybe it's just because I'm a man whore. Maybe that's what it is. But I love to fuck young, pretty women. And for me, this is just, I know I'm living the dream, and I know at some point it's got to come to an end. I don't know when that is, and I'm going to try to ride it as long as I can.
I don't blame you. So how much do you usually pay them? Is it per date, or it's more like you
Right.
buy them nice things? It's not like you pay
It
them after
depends.
they fuck you, because then that's more like here's your money, hooker. You know what I mean? Or like
Right.
escort. It's not an escort service. It's like a
Right.
sugar baby.
So it's different, right? Each arrangement can be different. I've had arrangements where they got an allowance every week, and I would just electronically send it, on Tuesday. There's the money, and then whatever we did during the week was what we did during the week. I've had it, $1,000 a week. I've had it where it was $250 when we would meet up and hang out. So it all depends. It's all over the place, and that kind of tells you too when you're talking and discussing the financial part of it with these girls. For me, it lets me know, like, are they new to the game? Are these girls a little more seasoned? They know what they're looking for. Do they know their worth? That kind of thing. So it literally, and that's the thing, it can take you all over the place. It can be, like I said, anywhere from $250 for the time that you hang out to $1,000 a week. It just depends.
That's not bad, getting a fucking grand a week to hang out with some dude that you're kind of into and like get railed.
Well, and that's the thing too, right? Like, so I try to make that real clear up front, and I've got pretty good intuition. So when I'm trying to feel the whole situation out, like, if you're not vibing with me, if you don't feel it, you're not attracted to me for whatever reason, whatever it is, then let's not do this, because I don't want to do that. I don't want to fuck somebody who's not attracted to me. That's fucking stupid.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
You could get a
I don't
hooker
want that
for that.
me.
Yeah, get a hooker for that.
Right. I don't want that for me, and more importantly, I don't want it for them, because I don't want that shit to linger on in their life. Like, oh, I remember when I fucked that dude, and I was just doing it for the money or whatever else. So there's got to be a vibe there, and for me, it's easy to find that vibe. I'm in sales by trade, so for me, being able to talk to somebody is no problem. And if there's any kind of chemistry at all, I can stir that shit up into something else. But then you got to watch the other side, because it can go from that to feelings real quick. Yeah. Oh yeah. And not that I'm opposed to that. I'm not, with the right person in the right situation. But again, I have a life, I have a business, I have kids, all that kind of stuff plays into it. So the feelings have to be in check a little bit. But
yeah, you don't want these bitches getting crazy, showing up at your fucking door, banging it down while you got your girls inside, or like showing up to your job, causing a scene.
Yeah, no. And thankfully that's never happened. So I'm lucky there, knock on wood. But it's all, like, for me, it's good vibes, good times, good sex. That's what I need. And then let me go and live my life and do what I do. But it's like any other relationship, texting throughout the day, talking to each other. I'm fielding shit that, I've been 20 something, so I've dealt with most of that shit. So I'm, doling out advice and everything else. And then, getting them somewhere, get them panties off, let me spank that fucking ass.
And then here's $1,000, sweetie. Do you usually see one girl at a time, or do you have like multiple girls at the same time? Because this can get expensive if you're giving out 3 girls $1,000 a week.
Oh, for sure. If that was the case, it would be out of control.
Right.
No. So there was a time where I was seeing a couple at a time, and it was just like, a date here, a date there, whatever, nothing serious. When I'm doing the, like a weekly allowance or something like that, it's generally just that person. And the other part of it too is, with all my other commitments in life, it's hard to juggle more than one of them, because one of them is a lot, And so
I agree. I don't know how people date multiple people at the same time. I can barely keep up with one guy that I see on weekends only.
Or people that have multiple families.
Well, the multiple families?
Like, that's crazy.
I could never do that. I'm like, I can't keep track of one person.
I can't even get more than one person to like me.
Me neither. I'm at 0 people right now. I just fucked up the last one.
Yeah, it happens. There'll be another one soon enough, I'm sure.
So how long does the
it's a
arrangement
lot.
usually last? Like, when do you cut it
depends.
off? When somebody gets feelings, or
if they
Well-
get in a serious relationship, or like give us an example of
Well,
one.
So if they get into a serious relationship, obviously, we're going to cut it off. And for the most part, there's a discussion that's had back and forth, and that's all cool. I've been ghosted out of the blue, like by somebody that I was in a pretty long-term thing with, several months, and everything was good. And the last time I saw him, it was great. I threw her the towel. Everything was cool. And then the next thing I know, like, she's not answering my text. I'm blocked on every social media. I'm even blocked on Venmo. So it's like,
whoa.
Her boyfriend found out.
Her
Yeah,
boyfriend found out that blocked on Venmo
Yeah.
is serious.
yeah, right? Like, I mean, I can't even send you a message there. So what the heck? So
Yeah.
anyway, so yeah,
Whoa.
generally conversations can happen, shit like that. Not to say that I haven't ghosted, I've ghosted, and that's not my MO normally, because I think that's bullshit.
No, you have a conversation. It's fucking hurtful
Yeah.
to ghost.
Right. But if somebody's crazy, like if somebody's just starting to get crazy, then,
Well, then sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
right. But for the most part, it lasts until it fizzles. And, men are pigs, right? Like, we're pigs.
I
We
know.
like the hunt. We like the chase. We like all that. We like the submission, or I do anyway. And so then, like, when that starts to fade for me, then I start to get the itch. And that's a delicate line to balance, because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm not an asshole like that, but I'm still a man, unfortunately. Like, that is what it is.
Relationships come and go. It is what it is. People get hurt. People get in them. You can't fucking appease everybody. And if you're not feeling it
Right.
anymore, and as long as you have the conversation, then no harm, no foul. This was an arrangement going into it anyway. It's not like you proposed and then we're like, never mind. I like somebody else.
Yeah. Right. So it would be no different than if the other side decided they weren't going to hold up their part of the arrangement. Right.
Yeah.
So
Right.
like, if one of us is done, we're done, and that's it, and that's okay. And it doesn't have to be anything dramatic. It can be, I'm getting some red flags that, something is not right. It doesn't have to be feelings. It can just be whatever. And I'm like, I think I'm going to take a break from this for a minute. And then generally, it'll fizzle on its own.
So Alex asked, how long do they usually last for about? You asked that, right? Yeah.
I would say 3 months,
That's it?
4 months.
And you go on vacations with these chicks at 3 months in?
I took a chick on vacation after 3 weeks.
Whoa.
For sure. If the vibe's there, the vibe's there. And that's how I've always lived,
Yeah.
in my normal relationship. So, it's no different that, you fuck on the first date, right? You know whether or not there's a vibe there. If there's a vibe, there's a vibe. And if there's not, there's not.
True.
And so that's just how it goes. But, 3-4 months, 6 months. 6 months is probably the longest.
Would you ever consider dating somebody from these sites, or you say you really fell for them, or would you have that in your head, yo, this bitch was on Seeking Arrangements, I can never take her seriously in a relationship?
I'm not going to lie to you. I've been in that exact situation.
Okay, tell me about it.
So I'm in this arrangement with this girl. A couple weeks go by and I don't send her any cash, right? But everything is the same, and she never mentions that I haven't sent her anything. And we vibe incredibly well. She's mature for her age, got her shit together. Everything's cool. We have a great vibe. However, in the back of my head, I'm like, she's told me a lot about previous arrangements and previous meetups and shit like that, which is probably something I never need to hear as a man,
Yeah.
because I don't want to know those things.
Yeah.
It's kind of like somebody saying, well, what's your body count, right? Like, oh, it's 7.
You never
Well, it
tell
ain't
that.
7.
Mine's 4. No.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Right. So,
Maybe
like,
3.
yeah. And it's like, so that stuff is in the back of my head. And as much as I like this girl and I'm attracted to her and we have a great fast time, there's always that in the back of my head, like, it's a little bit like, is she going to slip back off into that?
Yeah,
for
you a
whatever
hoe.
reason.
We know you're a hoe.
Well, yeah. And, I don't slut shame. I'm a slut, period. I know who I am. I will fuck within reason, just about anything. I'm not like Claude, right? But within reason.
Claude fucks anything. Claude has
Anything.
fucked a cantaloupe before.
Yeah.
Wait, was it a watermelon
yeah,
or a
right.
cantaloupe? I think
Was
it was
that the
a
time he had
watermelon.
that part?
Yeah, that was when he had the
was the
party and
party,
he
yeah.
walked out and he had the
Yeah.
cantaloupe on his dick, or it was a watermelon, and he just started fucking in the middle of the party.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a wild man. But for me, I will fuck a lot of things, but like you got to be at the hot end of the scale now, and so I don't know, but I know I'm a whore. I'm a whore. Period. It is what it is. What
There's
can I do?
nothing wrong
I
with
own
that.
Yeah.
Especially
Embrace it.
embrace it, man. Especially
Yeah.
if you're
I mean, I love-
divorced too. Why not live your best fucking life?
Yeah, I love sex, and I love good, healthy sex. Right? Like I want her to get off. Like that's my
Amen
Amen.
to that.
like most, and men don't figure that shit out till like late 20s, early 30s, right?
Some
Like,
never do.
Some
I
never
try-
do. I was just with a
Yeah,
guy that
some-
was mid 30s and didn't figure that out.
Right. And
I
it's
couldn't
like,
do it anymore.
I'm
It was so weird.
well, yeah, because it shouldn't be a one-way street, right? Like
Right.
I'm going to spend my time going down on her, learning her body, figuring it out. And that's what I do with these girls too. Like I'm going to figure that part out so that I'm meeting that expectation on their end. Or maybe because they're young, they've never had a guy that's done that. And maybe that's part of what causes the other, the buildup of emotions and shit like that. But for me, I need that healthy exchange. And so, like, let's face it, I'm going to come.
Right.
So that's a given. I need to make sure that she comes.
That's a
And
real
so
man
whatever-
right there.
That's a real man. Aaron, Aaron, can
Yeah.
you do a lesson to all the men out there that have no idea how to get a fucking woman off?
Or
I wish
even
I could.
try.
Make a video. You can
I see-
practice on me.
Oh man, say less. I see these videos and I'm like, or these memes and shit of dudes that can't find the clit. And I'm like, what are you talking? Like I could find that thing in the dark with my pinky finger, one hand tied behind my back, and a fucking cupcake shoved in my mouth. I'd still find it. That's got to be your shit. Like as a guy, that's got to be your goal is to do that. And if you can't or won't or don't give a shit enough, then you shouldn't be out there doing anything because you're just a self-serving asshole. And unfortunately, I know there's a lot of guys out there like that, but that's just not how I roll. So
I've never been with a guy who didn't roll like you do. And so it was just very weird to experience that for the first time. I'm 35 years old.
Yeah.
Like I've always been with men, but I guess I've always dated older men too. Like I feel like my best sex was with a guy that was 13 years older than me. And he was like you, like I could get off, like I got off 13 times in a night and he only got off once, but it would get him off. And it would make him so happy, like knowing that I was happy. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things. And I feel like that's like what gets a guy going is knowing that they're
That's
like
what
pleasing their woman.
A man.
man, when a man comes to that point where he eats pussy for his pleasure, it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
I'm there because I love it and I want to watch her squirm and I want to feel it
Right.
and I want to see it. When your leg is up over my shoulder and I can feel that fucker twitching, I'm in. Like
Ooh,
that
I'm
is
getting
my
turned
shit.
on.
Like,
Alex, excuse me. I'm going to go to the bathroom.
that's my shit. That's why I'm there. I came to win and I'm in. And so, dudes that don't do that, that's too bad because they're really missing out because that's the key that unlocks the rest of that for that girl to then open up and give you herself fully.
Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you,
Women-
Aaron.
Maybe we got to take a road trip to Detroit.
We're going to Detroit. Do you want a threesome? Alex and I are not sisters, but we could pretend to be
long as you're-
sisters.
Someone asked us
Yeah,
if
as
we
long
were.
as you're not. Yeah, as long as you're not sisters, I'm in.
People think we
It-
are
it-
though,
you
so
know-
we could pretend to be and like do role play.
I do. I've stalked the Instagrams. I'm familiar. I see
You've
the symbol.
stalked my OnlyFans. You've seen my butthole.
Oh yeah, I have seen your butthole. That's true. That's true.
And you bought those Chevy Chase pants because I said
I did. I
wait,
did. I bought
don't
the
think
pants.
Alex
Nicolas
knows.
Cage.
No, Nicolas Cage. Yeah, as I think
Yeah.
I think I told you this, Alex. So I like one of our other friends, Crystal. She posted a picture of like these like Nicolas Cage pants with Nicolas Cage looking like a fucking weirdo, and I said I'll show my butthole to the person that wears those out for like 4 hours in public. So then I get a message from Aaron, and he sends me a picture of the pants, and he's like, "Prepare your butthole."
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I have not worn. I have to be honest. I have not worn them out of the house because they are so ridiculous.
Yeah, that's why you didn't get the full butthole video.
So, yeah, so that's why I was like, all right, let me just sign up for the OnlyFans and see the butthole that way. But there's nothing better. There's nothing better than a good butthole picture for sure.
True.
My favorite. That's how you know you really crossed the intimacy line.
I think I was bending over in my kitchen.
I don't know. There's probably a few I looked at there, but so dudes just need to do better, right? They just need to do better.
Agreed.
And they, for me, I'm not gonna lie. Part of what gets me off about this whole thing is I'm setting the bar for every guy that comes into these chicks' life after me, in one way or the other. Whether it's the mental aspect, the physical aspect, the fact that I'm attentive, I'm taking care of things, whatever it is, I'm setting that bar. And so, good luck, boys, because 20-somethings ain't going to cut it after that.
I was just going to say that, especially since you're in your 40s and 20-year-old guys, I feel like they just don't know what they're doing too. And especially if these girls are 20, they're going to be having some of the best orgasms in their life. And then they're going to go back to the 20-year-olds that literally like do fucking 3 thrusts, think that that's okay,
right,
roll over and want to smoke some weed. So these girls are going to be disappointed for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, and then severely surprised, right? Yeah, disappointed and surprised. But
Yes.
that's the thing. Like, dudes just need to do better. You got to pay attention. You got to be in it. And so I take time before usually it gets to that point sexually where I've learned enough about them to kind of know the gist of it, of who they are as a person. I hope, even though I know I'm catching some bullshit because that's the nature of that site,
Right.
Or any dating site, right? Like you're putting up your best front,
Right.
but as time goes on, you learn things and you follow those things, but spend the time, figure out their body, what makes them come, what makes them happy. And it's not always just, especially in a sugar daddy type thing, it's not always just the money. Like I said, weeks went by and I didn't send her a dime, and she never made mention of it because she was fulfilled in other ways.
Companionship too, yeah. And I think a lot of it is like, being, especially in times right now where it's really fucking difficult to meet somebody too, because like, let's face it, things are not open. It's not like you can go up to people and just say hi to them. Like even in a bar around here, if you get up from your table and you walk over to another table, like the bartenders and the fucking waitresses will be like, "Sir, ma'am, you have to go back to your table and sit down." Like you can't mingle like that. So especially times right now, it is like nice companionship to meet somebody off of those things, especially if it's an arrangement, you know what you're getting into, and then you're getting fucking paid for it.
Right.
Right. I mean, so like the terms of engagement are already laid out. That part's taken care of. So you already know like what the deal is going into it. So then it's almost like you're a little more relaxed and you can kind of open up a little bit within reason, and get to know that person on a different level. Where dating, conventional dating is tough. The last person I dated conventionally, I was at a job and my phone rang. I picked up the phone and it was the girl's boyfriend.
Whoa,
and he was like,
no, that's so annoying.
Yeah. And I was like, dude, first of all, I don't know why you took my number out of her phone. Second of all, you know where I work. I'll be back there in a half hour if you want to come talk about it. But don't, I'm not the one to call and be like, "Oh, you're banging my bitch." Like, not only am I banging your bitch, I nut in her every single fucking time.
Yeah.
And now I'm, and she comes home to you, obviously. I'm not the one you need to be talking to.
You didn't know that she had a boyfriend.
Right.
Absolutely not. And then I did have a conversation with her right after that, like, yo, what? You know, you told me you guys broke up. Old boy's calling my phone while I'm at work. This ain't cool. And she was younger. She was in her 20s. And, you know, then she told me how complex the situation was. And I'm like, look, at the end of the day, here's what it is. If you're fucking him, I'm not fucking you. So
Right.
that's where we are. And that's a lot of it. And that's a lot with the sugar babies too, because that site is a free for all.
Right.
And so I know they always have the option to get on there and find something quick if that's what they need. And so I'm always like, my antenna's always up, like, oh, you know, so any weird behavior patterns that are out of the normal, just like in any relationship, right? Like, oh, where'd you disappear to for 2.5 hours on Friday night? You know, shit like that. So, and I try to like my redneck crazy is high. It's high as fuck. So I try to keep that shit tamped down. But, there's a lot of challenges to it and trying to maintain a good balance. Like I said, good vibes, good times, good sex, the whole 9 yards. So it can be wild. That's for sure.
Do you care if they're seeing other people, or you kind of make it like, all right, well, you're with me and I'm paying you monthly, like you're only with me, or it doesn't matter. You can't control.
To me, it doesn't matter whether I'm paying you or we're in a conventional relationship or anything else. Like, if we're fucking, number one, we're probably fucking raw.
Right.
And so that means that we're not fucking anybody else. And that's laid out at the beginning.
Okay.
I don't want to catch anything. And you know me well enough from our interaction in the other way that we know each other, that I'm a pretty alpha male.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't tolerate nonsense. So that kind of shit to me, like if we're doing this, we're doing it. And as much as it's an arrangement, you're still either committed or you're not. So for me, if you're not committed and you're going to be banging other people, then I have a fucking problem. So that's just who I am as a man. That's how it's always been. You know, I don't like to share my toys.
I operate like that.
I
I'm
get
like
that.
a one man at a time kind of person. Even if I'm not really like even if we're not dating, I still can't be with more than one guy at once, just because it makes me feel dirty, and I don't know who the fuck he's with. Like, you know, I don't like what sheets am I going into at your place, that who was in there last night. So it's kind of, I don't like that either.
Yeah. And for me, you know, there's some weird thing about dudes there, and it's always been this way, right? Like there's some weird thing about a guy and a woman, for me anyway, like I'm going inside her body, right?
Yeah.
So for me, like, I don't want anybody else in there relatively close to the time I've been in there. So that's just one of those mental hiccups that I have where I'm like, I can't. I know guys that don't give a shit. They'll bang 3 or 4 chicks and they don't give a fuck what they're doing, and it's whatever. But for me, I can't roll like that.
But I also think that those guys that are banging 3 or 4 chicks, A, have a lot of commitment issues. B, are not probably those kind of people are those selfish fucks that get off and don't give a fuck about the woman. Where I feel like you're on the same level with me, where the more that I'm with, I like being with one person and exploring that one person, because then you can really go places sexually with them that you can't do if it's just like random fucking hookups.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to give you my all and, you know, like, I don't know, with somebody random for the first like couple times, like that's gross.
Right. A random hookup is a nut, right?
Right.
And that's all it is. And that's fine and that's cool and whatever. But when it starts to get, when there's some kind of connection there and that thing builds, that's when both people open up and that's where the fun starts.
Yeah,
right?
that's
because
when the great sex happens.
Yep. Absolutely, because you're comfortable. Girls always have that thing where they see their body differently than men see them, right? Like, you guys are always like, oh, I'm too fat, I'm too skinny, my boobs look like this, or whatever else, right? But for dudes, we don't see you like that. But sometimes guys have those same kind of things, like, oh, I put a little weight on over the winter or whatever. If I can't stroll around naked in front of you and you see my ass and my whole body and I see yours and we're comfortable to the point where it doesn't matter, then there's going to be hang-ups there. Like, I don't need to do it in the dark. I don't want to be under the sheets.
I like to see what I'm doing too. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that level of connection is a whole different ball game, and it's great. And that's really what takes it from fucking 0 to 100, right? I mean, when you hit that point that you're comfortable with somebody at that level, lick my asshole, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm in.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's a whole different world at that point. And then all the inhibitions are gone, the guard's down, and it's just a fuck fest, and people are coming left and right.
So do you wait, you go first, Alex.
No, I was gonna say, so is that why you chose the seeking arrangements route over the like
Dating
Tinder,
apps.
Hinge? Because is there like a money aspect to it? Do you have like the
Oh,
God
yeah.
complex, like, oh, I like to help these people?
Like
or
a
was it-
financial domination
No.
type thing?
Not like a God complex necessarily. I enjoy seeing them do well, right? But I'm also doing things like making, like the last one that I was with, I was making sure like she was investing money. Like she opened up an account and
Stocks
making sure
and
she's
shit.
investing in stocks.
Okay.
And she was seeing some growth, and that was good for her. There's no God complex because, I mean, who knows? I could get hit by a truck tomorrow, so none of that really matters to me. The fact that I have a ton of money is just a bonus.
Yeah.
Right.
but-
Okay.
That also can't be the basis of the relationship either. So, it's a fine line, but no God complex like that, or no controlling aspect of like, if you don't fuck me, I'm not giving you cash, because that's not what it's about for me. I know there's guys like that out there, but that's not my thing.
Yeah, they probably like hold it over these women.
Yeah, and that's how they keep the women around. Like,
Right.
well, if you don't see me on Friday night, then you're not getting the money.
Right. And then some of the girls like need it too. Or do
And
most-
that's literally
Right,
just
and-
strictly an arrangement.
Yeah, that's
no
strictly.
feeling. It's like I fuck you.
Right.
It's an escort, but
pretty
not.
much.
Yeah.
Do these girls have jobs,
but
or is it just allowance?
It depends. Some of them are in school, like
Okay.
full-time school, like legitimate school. Some of them have jobs, and it's just not cutting it. Some of them single moms. It just depends. It's all over the place. It's just like anything else.
Yeah.
So, I'm not. I don't want to be the source for their sole income and survival. I don't want that put on me, because that's a huge commitment, right? But there's something good about seeing somebody grow, and helping people do better. I don't have any problem with that.
Especially
I
if you're
want them
setting
to
them up
have-
with like stocks and shit,
Yeah.
because that's massive
Yeah,
for
I
their
mean-
future.
Yeah, and I'm telling them, like, this is what's in my portfolio. This is what I bought this week. Take a look at it. See what you think. What can you put towards it? I know you got car payment. I know you got rent. I know you got school, whatever. But like, throw $100 at it.
Right.
See what happens. And once you get a taste of that, I wish somebody had done that. Well, my dad did kind of do that when I was younger. But if I had gotten hooked like I am now on the stock market when I was in my 20s, it'd be a whole different world. And I would just have a supermodel wife living in the fucking Caribbean somewhere.
I just set up Alex with her Robinhood account.
Yep.
She's obsessed.
Addie's my sugar mama.
I'm her sugar mama. I
There
gave
you
her
go.
free stock because she signed up with
Yeah,
it.
there you go. Yeah, but I mean, once you get hooked on that shit and you start to see some growth, like, you're doing something for yourself. And
Yep.
It's not me that's doing it. I'm just kind of giving you guidance towards it. You're doing it on your own. That's your money. You do what you want with it.
You're
and
a
make
rare
something
breed,
happen
though.
for yourself.
I know, Aaron, you are a rare
No.
breed.
I mean, I
I feel like you're
appreciate
like
that
the
for sure.
Santa Claus of seeking arrangements.
Yeah, because let's be real. Most of the guys on there is just like
pigs.
they can't get anyone
Well,
to
yeah,
fuck
they
them,
just-
so they got to pay someone,
Yeah.
and it's better than getting a hooker because you're justifying it like, oh, we're
Right.
dating.
Right, but you're not. I mean, those guys, that's not a relationship. That's not, I mean, you're just hooking up. And if that's your thing, that's your thing. I don't kink shame, whatever. I mean, but I've heard stories about dudes that are socially awkward.
Yeah.
They're not
Yeah.
attractive, whatever it is. And so I probably attract the higher end of what's on there, and that's good. I'm fortunate that way, but like, I'm not trying to take advantage of anybody, make anybody feel bad about themselves, and it's probably part of that girl dad thing, but it is what it is. And I just, I treat them like I would treat anybody that I'm in a relationship with. And one of the nicest compliments that was ever given to me I'll tell the story and then I got to wrap it up. But,
Okay.
Okay.
we were on vacation and I got up and left the pool area to go back to the room real quick. And as soon as I got up and left, this dude approached the girl that I was with. And he was an older guy. And he must have seen the difference between our age. And so he thought it was okay to approach her, which was a bold move on his part. And he came up and he started talking to her. And he said, "So why are you with him?" And she said, "Talk to him for just a minute and you'll immediately know why."
Aw.
And so she told me that story later on because I came back and he was talking to her and I was like, "Dude, what's up?" And so then he and I talked for about a half hour and we had some things in common. And so we talked and then he left and then she kind of told me the story later. And I asked her, several weeks after that had passed, I said, "Did you really say that?" And she said, "Yeah, absolutely." She said, "The sexiest thing about you is the fact that you are so intelligent, the way you talk, the way you make me feel." And she went through this, and it was so nice to hear because I'm not out there trying to be a scumbag. That's just not. And anybody that's on that site should know, doesn't matter what side you're on. Like I always tell my girls, know your worth and add tax, right? It's
Yeah.
the same thing. Like don't settle for less. And even though you might be in a hard spot for money and shit like that, like don't let anybody denigrate who you are as a person, make you feel bad about yourself, put you in a situation that you're uncomfortable in. None of that shit. Make it something that's worthwhile for both you and the other person, just like you would in any normal relationship. Just know there's an aspect of it where you're both getting something that you want above and beyond the companionship, the sex, the good times, the good vibes. So
I like that. So seeking
I
arrangements.
know we really
for
turned
the-
this episode
into like
yeah,
a
we
full
turned
like
this episode into a
Pep talk for men.
yeah. I feel like we should have
You're
right?
like a unicorn.
soft classical music.
I know. Wait, do you want to
No.
date me?
You don't even have
You're
to
too
pay
you're
us.
too far. You're too far away from me.
We can
My-
move.
My libido. I'll tell you, my libido at my age now is probably twice as high as it was when I was in my 20s, which is odd.
Oh,
But I
daddy.
think it's partly because it's the amount of sex that I'm having.
Especially
the
with these
quality sex that I'm having.
20-year-olds.
Oh, and that could have been a challenge. And that's the other thing, right? Like if a guy rushes into it with a 20-some-year-old, like you're in like foreign territory if you haven't been there in a while. Yeah, so like I make sure that I take the time to make sure that they're satisfied, and that also keeps me in the game. So the last year and a half, my libido is off the charts. I'm talking like, when I was in my 20s, I could go 2, 3, 4 times a day, and I'm back at that same level now. If I
Damn.
had that kind of time, that's what I would be doing. And yeah, it's intense for sure. And sometimes I think that catches some of these girls off guard too, because I'm ready to go all the time. So,
I know guys my age that can only
But-
go like once.
Well, I
Maybe
think
you
it's,
get your mojo
think
back
part of it
after
is that-
40.
maybe I'm 40 was like the best thing that ever happened to me.
Really?
And I've never, I think I'm aging well. I think that at 40, kind of like the second light bulb came on. The first one came on when I was like 30 and I had my first daughter. And then at 40, like the light bulb came on and it was like a new revolution or, a new renaissance, if you were, in my brain. And then when I got into this kind of thing, I was like, I have so much to bring to the table here that I have to do it in the right way to make sure I'm not hurting people and, causing them mental harm, but like making that connection and then getting that connection going. You guys know that connection is key to everything. So
Absolutely.
once you're at that level, then, I think it grows everything. And so then it's like, I'm not a 1-round guy. I'm like, I need 2, 3 rounds. Let's do this. And
Fuck yes.
that's a lot for some people. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, that is. Guys 30 years old were only good that I've been with were like 1 and done. And at least they would get me off
Yeah.
like twice, but God, I
Sure.
love a guy that can go like
Yeah.
3 times in a night.
Yeah.
Well, and you know how, like, because for me, when I was in my 30s too, right? Like, I'd get my nut and then I'd rush to the bathroom to clean up or whatever. Like, lay there. cuddle.
Yeah.
Have that fucking moment. Have that moment. Let that moment take over. Let that 20 minutes pass of just talking and laughing and fucking around.
And
And the
napping
next thing
together.
you know, yeah, and then look back over and be like, hey, will you suck my dick? And then the next thing you know, it is on again.
Yep.
And it's better that round than it was the first round, at least for me. And I know for them because I'm performing at a different pace. So that kind of shit, don't get up and rush off like, oh, I got to put my pants on and get out of here. Like, hang out and be in that moment, because that's the moment where it all kind of ties together. And if you can do that, you can do a whole lot of things.
I hate when guys immediately nut and then they put on their boxers, like within seconds. I'm like, dude, let your dick hang out a little longer.
Right. Like, like, oh, she's never seen a flaccid penis before.
Like, who gives
Like,
a shit?
Right. But that's the thing. Dudes get hung up on that same kind of shit. And there's girls that do the same thing. Like, it's over, it's done, and immediately they're like covering up under the covers. Now, unless it's cold, which I get, but like if you're trying to hide your body from me, like I was just in it.
I
was
just saw
inside
it. Yeah.
Like you don't have to hide it from me. Take that minute, lay there, relax, enjoy. But the key to that whole thing is enjoying that company, and enjoying that time afterwards, and building on that orgasm, because the orgasm is only one piece of it. Get that mental fuck in.
I think that you need to be like the Tony Robbins of letting boys know how to please a woman. Can we just do a worldwide tour? Disappointed but not surprised, starring
You can like
Aaron,
demonstrate,
and then you can demonstrate on us on stage.
Absolutely, you better get some sleep and some vitamins.
Just feed me pineapple afterwards.
I don't think young dudes can consume it. No matter if somebody had come to me when I was in my 20s and said what I'm saying, I don't think younger dudes can consume it. Most younger dudes. There's some out there that do, and those guys, when you see those dudes that are not the best looking guys, but they've got a smoke show on their arm, they understand this stuff.
Yep.
And it's always the fuck boys. The fuck boys are out there and they're banging this one, they're banging that one, they're doing this, they're doing that. And but it's always a different chick, and it's always a rotation, because they never are getting to this level.
No.
Get to this level. Get to this level and change the game completely. But it's like anything else. You got to be dedicated to it. Can't half-ass it, and you really got to put the work in. And yeah, man, it's good shit. It is good shit.
Amen.
Absolutely.
I'm into that.
So I hope that gives you a little insight into the my seeking arrangement time. Anyway, I'm off the site right now. I don't know that I'm ready to go back on there.
Are you with anybody right now, or no? You're not, like, nobody's lingered over? Or
yeah, there's somebody that's lingering, and I'm not real sure what I'm doing with that situation at the moment.
Are you still paying them? You're still paying them?
Nope, not paying them.
Oh, so it's like a relationshipy thing.
Yeah, there's a distance and time issue at this moment. So that's kind of hanging out there, but there's still constant contact and communication and everything else. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Well, keep us posted.
Yeah,
and like I said, oh yeah, for sure. But getting back on there, I don't have anxiety. It's not something I suffer from, but I've got a little bit of angst at just even the thought of getting back on there, because it's so much work finding someone who's willing to receive what I'm giving. You know what I mean?
It's
like,
time consuming to weed through all those people.
It's just like dating in general.
Yeah.
It's fucking the worst
like
on any app.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's the worst. And so that part for me is like, do I really want to fucking go down this road again? And I'm sure if things were to dwindle out and, it would take me a week or two, and I'd be like, all right, let's get back on here and see what I can do. But it's like I said, it's like a whole nother job going through there and sorting through, but worth it if you're willing to put the time in and you're not looking, depending on what you're looking for, I guess. There's always those girls on there that are, they're willing for just a quick fuck, and that's got its place too. But that's not me, and so it takes a little more time to find what I'm looking for.
How many dates do you usually go on before you find that person, or you usually weed them out via online and the phone, and then you kind of know that you're going to have a connection?
Well, I usually text at least a couple days before meeting up with them, right? And then at that point, like I'm figuring out, like, are they responsive? Am I sitting here waiting on a text back? Blah, 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 whatever. Are they attentive? Can they carry on a conversation? Can we talk about things other than sex?
Right.
All that kind of stuff. And then we'll meet up, and I'll know, between what you and I both do for a living, we probably have a pretty good read on people right away.
Oh, this is what we do for a fucking living. Within 3 seconds, we can get a read on somebody.
Right. Yeah. So I'm going to know pretty quick what the deal is. And not to say that I haven't caught some curveballs, because I have. I thought I had it figured out, and I was like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. But usually I'll know right away. But, I'll text back and forth with them for a day or two and kind of vibe on their vibe. Sometimes right away they're wanting to meet up, and I'm like, all right, there's no harm in going out and grabbing a drink, whatever. And now that things are starting to open up, I can do that. But that's probably the norm, I would say.
Have you ever been
I don't want to carry it
catfished?
on for a week.
Yeah.
Yes.
You've been catfished? Was it like some old lady waiting and they had a picture of like a 20-year-old?
No, what I got catfished by was the motherfucking angles of the pictures, right? So every guy,
the worst
angles, right? You get the angles. You're looking at the photo. You're like, oh, she's gorgeous. She's whatever, blah blah blah. And then you get there and you're like, nope. And I'm also not that I'm a really nice guy, but I'm not that motherfucker. So if I get there and it's not you, or you've been angling me or whatever, I'm like, hey, listen, I don't think it's going to work. I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming out to meet me. I got your drink and everything. I'll take care of all that. Good luck. I hope you find what you're looking for. And I don't let it dwindle beyond that, because it doesn't need to go into a situation beyond that. So
one of our guy friends has his old picture on apps. He's on regular dating apps, not Seeking Arrangements, but he's gained like 200 pounds since then.
Oh no.
We're like, nope. Dude, take your skinny pictures off.
Right?
How much weight has he gained? At least 100. Man. Probably 100.
Probably 100.
But he's like only like 5'5" to begin with.
So he's using his skinny pictures.
Skinny pictures on these apps, and then he's gained at least 100 pounds.
But
probably.
I was like, so what do you do when you meet up with the people? Like, aren't you like embarrassed that it's not you in the picture? And then he's like, oh no, I don't meet up with them. I just want to see if I still have it. Like, if people would be willing to meet up with me.
Oh.
Like, okay.
Wow.
Sounds like a giant waste of time, but whatever.
Right? Holy shit.
There's people that do that. They'll put pictures of themselves from like 10 years ago on there, or like from like 100 pounds ago on there.
Yeah, I haven't ran into the 10-year ago thing. I've definitely ran into the angles where they were bigger than what they appeared to be when I got there.
Yeah.
And it's just like anything else. If I'm not attracted to you physically, I'm not going to pursue it. There's no nothing there.
Right.
Not to say that I'm just a completely shallow. It's not that I'm a completely shallow asshole, but I am. So, that like I said, I've ran into angles and shit like that. But man, if I walked in and somebody was like 10, 15 years older, I'm out, done. I probably wouldn't even say anything.
Well, the whole thing's starting off on like false pretenses anyway.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Right. And then at that point, we're done before we even begin. So,
and I don't blame you for being shallow on this, because you're paying for fucking goods. So why not get what you like, especially if you're paying for it?
Yeah, right. Like, absolutely. And like I said, I try to eliminate that part of it out, but in the end, there's things being exchanged. There's things I'm looking for that they have to meet certain parameters, right? And like I said, I've got a wide palette. There's a lot of things I like. But there's a lot of things I don't like. And yeah, that would be a bummer if I ever ran into a real bad situation like that.
Do you buy them gifts? Do you constantly have to shower them with gifts too? Or is it more just like weekly allowances and like, or pay per date? Like, are you buying them Chanel bags, like stuff like that, or no?
I've never bought anybody a bag. I know guys, you know, I've heard stories about guys that do that. They buy them like, you know, Louis Vuitton bags or whatever. That's not me. That's not who I am. I don't care about that stuff. And I know a lot of girls do care about that stuff, which is always bizarre to me because I'm like, you're driving a, you know, 2013 Toyota, but you got a Louis Vuitton bag. Like, what? Are you
right. Invest your money better.
So, yeah. So, like, I'll buy clothes and stuff like that. I've let girls use my card to, like, buy stuff from Nordstrom or, you know, I bought a girl a new iPhone, you know, things like that, but not a constant. Again, you got to set, you're setting the expectation. So when you start doing that stuff, they start looking for it like that. And it's not that I don't have the means or necessarily the want, but I don't want that to be the expectation all the time. Like every time I see someone, oh, what'd you bring me? Like, bitch, I brought you this cock. That's
right.
You know, I don't want it to be like, oh, you know, are you carrying a bag with something in it for me? No. But if we're in a little deeper situation, you know, and somebody mentions like, oh, I need to go do this, or I saw this and I really liked it, then I might, you know, do that. But like I've done shit like just buy a bottle of Chick-fil-A sauce. Like the girl said she loved it, and I ordered it on Amazon and shipped it to her house.
Honestly,
like
that would probably mean more to me than a fucking Chanel bag.
Right? And dudes forget that. Dudes forget that sometimes it's the little things.
Because that means you're
like
listening to what we like.
Correct. It's the little things. Like, I can't tell you what that bottle of Chick-fil-A sauce did for me.
I believe it. I would be so excited if something that little was shipped to my fucking house because it means they listened, they paid attention to what I liked, and they wanted to do something to make me happy that's not overly fucking showy.
Right. It didn't take $1,000 bag. It didn't take a vacation. It didn't take like none of that. It just took, I was paying attention when she ordered her food. She talked about this sauce like it was something crazy. And I was like, okay.
The Yum Yum sauce.
I think I may have even
was it the Polynesian sauce
I
from
may have
Chick-fil-A?
even seen,
was it Polynesian or Yum Yum?
It was like No, it was Chick-fil-A sauce. It was just Chick-fil-A sauce, whatever that is. And I think I had saw a TikTok, and the girl had like the squeeze bottle of it, and I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing. Next thing you know, I'm on Amazon. I order it, done, over with, boom.
That's really cute.
So, and, yeah, you know, it's one of those kind of things. You got to pay attention, and no matter what kind of relationship you're in, you got to pay attention because the name of your podcast, right?
Right.
Disappointed but not surprised. Dude, stop disappointing these girls. Pay attention. Do the little shit. Make it happen. You know, it doesn't take moving a mountain sometimes. Sometimes it's just one or two little things are like, yep, I got you, girl. And that was it.
We started this with the name because we had been let down so many fucking times.
In every way imaginable.
In every way. So it became like comical. Like anything happens to us now, we're like, yeah, disappointed but not surprised. Like honestly, like if I like we're almost expecting to be in a marriage like eventually and then finding out that like they have a whole nother family or they like fuck hookers on Craigslist. Like, you know, something like that. Or like, you know what, that wouldn't even surprise us right now.
Yeah, it would just be like, oh, figures.
Yeah. like well, yeah.
That's part of the other thing of being on Seeking, right? Like I feel like it's jaded me a little bit that way too. Like I'm always thinking like, oh, you know, these chicks are just fucking whoever. Like they got a multitude of dudes that are chasing them. And sometimes it takes like really paying attention. Like, yeah, they probably do have dudes chasing them, but are they curving them in the DMs?
Right.
Or are they entertaining that shit? And Chick-fil-A sauce ends up making them curve a lot of people.
Absolutely. So but would you be mad if they were just taking money to like sext and talk to other people, because a lot of guys just need companionship off of that. Like, I know a girl, so I only heard about seeking arrangements because where I was working, one of the billers in my office, she said that a lot of her college friends and nursing schools were on that, and a lot of them didn't even meet with the guys. And I'm like, bingo, if I can make $500 a week to fucking sext and send random nudes, like, I'm in. Like, what girl wouldn't? A lot, but I would. So that's why I like signed up for it with the alter ego. Yeah, and I was looking for was to just like chat. So I bet you a lot of these girls are wanting to chat, but would you be jealous about that too?
Well, it depends. It depends on what level of connection I'm at with them. If it's to the point where, you know, we're emotionally connected a little bit, then yeah, I might be a little bit, because I want all of that. You know, I don't want that shared with anybody else. I get it. Like, you can go on there, you can finesse some dude, send him a couple butthole pictures and some text, and have him sending you cash.
Right.
And I get that that's easy and it's whatever. But if that's what you want to do, then I'm probably not the guy. And if it's just, you know, we have a connection, that connection is good, you know, we're together, everything's good with us, then yeah, I don't want to share. I look at it like a relationship, you know?
Yeah.
You wouldn't want a guy that you were with doing that with somebody else. Same thing. It's a matter of respect at that point.
I don't know. If I had some guy and they were like, listen, I need to talk to you. Some random woman from the Hamptons wants me to send her dick pics and she's willing to give me $250. I'd be like, motherfucker, I will dress your wiener up for you. Take the pictures and then we can send them to her if you're getting $250 a fucking picture.
Yeah, my ex-fiance was always like, I would tell him, I'm like, this guy wants to send money for like whatever, like my socks, this, that, the other thing. He's like, do it. He's like, get that money, girl. He's like, you're hot. Why let it go to waste?
And I get it. And some do, like, maybe that's like a insecurity thing on my part. I don't know. I just don't. Maybe it's just how I'm cut. I just don't want to share. Like, when I'm into somebody, I don't want to share any of it.
Yeah, I get that.
If it's just, you know, if it's just we're hanging out and we're fucking once a week and that's it, and then we go our separate ways, I don't give a fuck. But if it's a little deeper than that and it's reached that point where we're comfortable and everything is good and it feels good and it's right, you know, then at that point, no, I don't want to share anybody. But like I said, if it's just a random, you know, we're just banging every week.
I don't like to share.
Yeah, like I would even be okay with, if I was with somebody and that emotional connection was there and they wanted to have an OnlyFans, I'd be okay with that, as weird as it is, right? Because I feel like there's some kind of disconnect there.
There's no connect whatsoever with OnlyFans. You're posting your fucking nudes, and you're like looking at your fucking bank account, and those and it's funny too, because any of the nudes that I posted, none of them were fresh nudes. They were all I went through me and one of my ex's texts, and pseudo ex, whatever the fuck he was, and I used to have to send him a picture every single morning to get him through his day. So I just like recycled all his old pictures. I'm like, fuck him. He's not around anymore. He fucking dip, so I might as well use those pictures for good. So I just was like, let me post them and make a few $100 quick.
Yeah, no, and so in that part, like the OnlyFans thing, I'm like, yeah, go for it. You know, get your bag. I don't have any problem with that. It's to the point where it's personal one-on-one communication. I'm like, that's probably not right. But maybe it's just me. Maybe that's my weird hang up. Maybe that's my one weird thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get that. I absolutely get that, not wanting to share. 100%. It's a tricky situation with that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And the arrangement part of it doesn't make it any less tricky. It just makes it sometimes a little more complicated. That's all.
I feel like it would almost make it easier to lay everything on the line. Like, hey, this is what I need. This is what I don't need. If you're willing to do that, then we can work it out where I give you money. And like, you like put it out all on the table instead of like kind of feeling your way through in a normal relationship.
Yeah, right. Like you're eliminating a lot of that nonsense in the beginning because you're laying out some terms,
rules,
and then everything beyond that is pretty easy.
Right.
So that part of it's kind of nice. It takes away that bullshit a little bit, and that's where guys can get hung up on the money part, right? Because then at that point they think, well, I'm paying you, like, so you have to abide by what I say. No, that's not. It's no different than anything else. If there's a level of respect there, then that comes with it. If not, then that's not how it's going to go down. And a dude has to make a decision at that point, continue to pursue that or don't. But don't use it and hold it over somebody's head because they're on a different page than you are. Just acknowledge, like any relationship, we're on a different page.
Yeah.
Maybe this isn't what I want.
And then you move
okay.
on.
It's okay. Yeah, it's absolutely okay to go, this isn't what I want. And it doesn't matter, arrangement, marriage, relationship, friendship, whatever it is. If it's not working, it's okay to say, hey, this isn't working. And then you talk about it. And either you fix it and make it work, or
You break
let
up.
it go and you hold on to the good memories, you let it go and move on. So
I like that outlook in life.
it's yeah, I mean, that's how I try to approach everything. It's a wild ride out here, right? I mean, in anything that you do. And so go into it with an open mind. Don't be a dickhead, and you'll have a good time on that site. But
And get the
just
girls
know
off.
there's a lot of pitfalls. Yeah, and get the girl. Yeah, spend the time. Spend the time.
Preach.
Yeah, I cannot, like, it takes a minute. You know, you might not, she's going to be kind of closed off the first time you're together. So you're not going to figure out everything about her body the first time. And it may take 2 or 3 times. It may take 5. It may take 10. But when you get there and you figure that part out,
Oh, she gonna be
Your daddy's
stuck.
real.
Yep.
Good
I
dick
stayed.
makes bitches do
Then-
crazy
Yeah,
things.
I stayed with good dick for a long time, way longer than I should have. I fucking would hit one of my exes
Right,
with my car all
absolutely.
the time because I hated him, and then I'd be like, "Wait, I want to come. let's go back."
yeah. Right? Like, and dudes need to understand that. Like, you want to get into a girl's soul, you can do a lot, but don't be a dickhead. You know, be respectful, pay attention, buy the Chick-fil-A sauce, and spend time at the clit, and life is going on.
I feel like that should be
that's
like
it. That's all.
one of those posters that you put on people's walls in their kitchen, and we're gonna fucking phrase that.
Yes.
We're gonna copyright
should
that
probably-
phrase.
Yeah, I should probably print that up and get it made up. and
Yeah,
send it
buy
to
them
people. You're
Chick-fil-A
right.
sauce
Probably
and
should.
pay attention to the clit. It's gonna be in households
Yeah, that's
all
it.
around.
It's not right. It's not hard. Just do the little things and focus on the good shit. So, all right, ladies, it's been fun, man. I've had a great time. Thanks
Thank
for
you
having me
so
on.
much.
Aaron, thank you so much for your insight and your sugar daddiness and your seeking arrangementsness. And it's
And
seeking
remember, keep
arrangements.
us in mind if you ever need anything.
Yeah, if you ever need anything, we'll send you some titty pictures
You
as a
got-
thank you for calling in.
It's my favorite. You know the way to my heart, absolutely. And if I'm out on the East Coast, we'll have to get together and have dinner.
Sounds good.
Absolutely.
We love it.
Wow, that was beautiful.
That was beautiful.
I think I shed a tear.
I'm literally obsessed with how Aaron treats women because you do not find that anymore.
No, he needs to do a course for real.
Like, I've dated guys that like were like that, but
Yeah.
they're also fucking drug addicts and they relapsed on crack.
Wow.
So-
I know.
But like they always put the woman's needs first and they really understood what women want and women need. And honestly, these sugar babies that are getting the arrangement out of it with him are
that's
so
like a win-win.
fucking lucky.
You
Yeah.
cannot lose with that.
You can't
Great
lose with
sex,
that. Yep.
money, and like there's some sort of
Connection.
emotional connection there. God damn, sign me up.
Sign me up. And he's handsome too.
So
fucking move
ladies,
to Detroit.
they are out there.
They
Do
are out
not
there.
settle for less.
Even if you have to go on seeking arrangements. But let's just put a PSA because I know people from that website who like it's not you just go with your friends. Like that one girl went with her sister for the first
Right,
time.
that was
Granted, they had a
smart.
sister fetish. Go with your friends because any dating website, whether it's seeking arrangements, Tinder, Bumble, you know, Fet Life, whatever the fuck creep
Right.
ones there are, there could always be those creepers out there. So just be careful.
Maybe we should hook him up with Rachel so she could have like a wet vagina for once.
Yes, she can go to Detroit, get some cash, get a wet vagina. She won't have to lay like there like a tin soldier that she was.
Praying for it to be over.
For anybody that doesn't know who we're talking about, go listen to last week's episode. Our friend Rachel was guesting on it. It's the Tinder one. What was it? Tinder Nightmares. All right, guys, before we close out, Confession Corner.
Okay, guys, first confession. I have to accept the fact that my penis is ruined forever. Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
I started cycling around October 2019, but the bike I got had a seat that has now ruined my life. When I started riding it... When I first started riding it, my gooch hurt like hell. But
Gooch?
Yeah. But I pushed through it until around January 2020, and now I can't really feel my dick as much anymore. Sad face. Also, lately, I've been drinking a bit more than usual, I'd say, kind of like a couple of cans every 2 days or so. And I keep wanking off as well, and my dick is really sore. It hangs to the right a little bit now, too. It feels kind of numb, too. I'm worried that if I have Peyronie's disease, it stresses me out.
What's Peyronie's disease?
Wait, you don't know Peyronie's?
No.
Oh, my God. Peyronie's is a thing.
Wait, elaborate.
Okay. Hold on.
Finish that, and then we're going to get into what Peyronie's is.
Okay. When I get hard, my dick hurts nowadays. I'm ruined forever.
Well, put the fucking Peloton bike down, you asshole.
Bro. Go to the fucking doctor.
Dude, go to the doctor.
Stay
put your
off the
fucking
bike.
bike down. Go for a jog instead so your Peyronie's won't hurt. No, your gooch. Wait, what's Peyronie's?
You look it up.
All right. Peyronie's disease.
Go to images.
No!
Yes.
I don't know if I want to.
Do it.
That's like when somebody told me a while ago to look up blue waffle and I did, and I've never seen anything worse. Peyronie's disease is a fiber scar tissue inside the penis that causes curved, painful erections. Oh no, I'm going to look up the images. Oh my God, Google images. Oh, thank God.
Wait, scroll down.
It's just like...
It's when your dick is curved. Like permanently curved upwards or downwards.
All right, Google Images is not that bad. It's just drawings of it. Oh, there's a real wiener. Ew.
And ask me how I know about it.
How do you know?
Because someone told me. I forget now what the whole story was.
Oh, there's a Peyronie's wiener. It's curved up.
Yeah, it's curved.
It's like up, though.
It looks like a fishing hook.
What? There's a whole tube going into this guy's dick. It's gross. Yeah, no, it's curved upwards too, not down. It's like a banana, going
I
up.
can't remember who had it
Still looking at these images.
Who told me about it, but I thought I was with you, but I guess not. It had to be one of my cousins then.
Oh, that's really curved. And somebody told you that they had Peyronie's?
Something to that effect. Yeah, that's how I learned what it was, because I was like, fuck is that? And it was me and whoever I was with. I guess it had to be one of my cousins if it wasn't you. And we looked it up and we're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's really curved upward. It's like a banana shape almost.
Yeah.
And they have to graft it with collagen. Whoa. They have to take the skin off to undo the scars.
So this guy's turned into that from the bike?
From the bicycle? Bro, get off your fucking bike, man.
Get
I feel like that's not that hard.
Public transportation.
No, but go walk. Is it the bicycle for exercise, did he say?
He just said he started cycling in 2019.
Yeah, I think the cycling needs to end in 2021 if you're getting Peyronie's from your fucking bicycle or get a better seat bike. Oh, people these days. All right, next and last confession. I regularly visit prostitutes. This pandemic is making my already existing mental health issues worse. To escape my depression and the isolation that comes with the current situation, I'm visiting prostitutes at least once a week, either only for a quickie or for more. It's the only thing at the moment that's keeping me sane.
Well, whatever
floats your boat, bro. Do you? If it's prostitutes, at least somebody's getting money out of it.
Listen,
why not?
That's what's gonna keep you from going and shooting up a grocery store. Then please keep seeing the prostitutes.
Then see the hookers. There's nothing wrong with that. Or go on Seeking Arrangements.
True. You're spending money anyway.
You're spending money anyway. At least treat them good. Honestly, just fucking deal with the hookers. It's really not that big of a deal.
Everyone's done it at some point.
I feel like most of the guys I know have either gotten a rub and tug or paid somebody for sex.
At one point, yeah.
At one point in their life.
I would say probably 90%
Of the guys that I know have done that.
There's nothing to be ashamed about.
There's nothing to be ashamed about with that. Why the fuck
Even
not?
going to a strip club and getting a blowjob, I would be like, yes, do it.
Yo, I didn't know that Detroit was that open with the fucking champagne room shit like that.
I guess so. Want to go see?
Yeah.
All right.
Alex and I used to regularly visit strip clubs around here.
We did.
We would go and she'd be sitting there like fucking playing Candy Crush, yelling at her fucking phone. And all the guys would be coming up to her buying her drinks.
That's all I wanted.
That's all she wanted, drinks and Candy Crush. All right, guys. Well, we hoped you liked our episode. And we will see you next week. Brr! Brr!
Disappointed but not surprised. Disappointed but not surprised. Disappointed but not surprised.